guys, as always, thanks for stopping by. A major influencer has spoken out on guns decisively, and I think I'm going to ask a question that needs to be asked. Let's talk about that. Today's episode is brought to you by sportsmansguide.com. Fishing, boating, boots, guns, ammo, and a whole lot more. Hey hunters, you know what time it is, and Sportsman's Guide has you covered. Huge selection and orders. All orders over $49 ship free. My favorite is the military surplus section. Get ready for your next adventure over at sportsmansguide.com. Real quick, thank you for all of y'all. Every thumbs up is a huge help. I always say that, but thank you. Comments down below, fantastic as well. This one came in just a few minutes ago. I just got mine and slammed it over my head. No step on snake. Thank y'all for everything. I appreciate all of you guys. Y'all rock. Now, who speaks for you? Who speaks for me? It's a great question. And I want to talk about that just a little bit. Who speaks for us? And somebody does need to speak for us. I, of course, can speak for myself. We all can have a voice. That's the beauty of social media. But I do think here in the freedom community, we do need spokesmen, spokeswomen, people to speak for us and to rally charges and to lead us in some way. It doesn't mean we're helpless, but on some level it is nice to have people speak for us. The politicians certainly don't. They don't speak for me. And one of the rallying cries over the last couple years about the NRA and the slow of the NRA has been, hey, they don't speak for me. In fact, they speak for less than 10%, some say less than 5% of all gun owners, and even what they say doesn't represent us either. Now, Joe Rogan has spoken out decisively for firearms. Now, he's very open in all of his opinions. Some of you, if you aren't super plugged in, or maybe you're in different areas than I am, you may not be super familiar with Joe Rogan. He's the voice of UFC. And he's also that guy from Fear Factor and 100 other places. But he's got one of the top podcasts in the world. I don't have the current data. It may be the top podcast, but he's big, like big. Major voice, like a major voice. And people may already be typing below saying, well, he's not my cup of tea because he smokes pot on camera. Yeah, he does, pretty famously. And he's into a lot of things that I probably wouldn't be into. However, he is red-pilled as they come, and he's super pro-gun. I want to walk through a couple things here and also hear your comments on that one. The podcast was on Lex Fridman. It's Lex Fridman's podcast. Joe Rogan said that very clearly. I love it how decisive he was. Said it was a, quote, good idea to own a firearm for everyone. Blanket statement. I love how clear that is. Politicians don't talk like this. He also talked about the fundamental efficacy of owning a firearm, having a firearm, and how the data is absolutely there. The anti-gun crowd loves to talk about certain scenarios, and most of those are made up. But in the real world, as Rogan talks about, in the real world, the efficacy is undeniable. And I think it's really interesting that he goes through real-life scenarios. He also mentions really clearly that sometimes gun culture is a challenge, and that is the truth. If you have a media group that goes into video gun culture, they're going to see maybe sometimes things that are not palatable for the country as a whole. That's a whole other conversation. We're not chasing that. I talked about militias a few months ago, and a bunch of y'all got fired up at me about what I said about militias, and sometimes they're not super marketable as well. You don't have to type on that. Separate videos, separate conversation. However, Rogan did mention really clearly about the gun culture, how sometimes that is a little bit too separated from mainstream America. His final statement I really liked. He said, bottom line, if you own a firearm, your life is better off. You're better off overall, especially from a self-preservation, self-protection standpoint. And I think that is important. Now, I want to take the bigger picture on this and really ask y'all, who speaks for us? We need influencers. We absolutely do. We need people to influence the younger generation. And I know this is going to be tough. I'm nervous about this next part, but I'm sorry. If you don't like this one, I'm sorry. This is the way it is, as the whole Wayne LaPierre thing has in the dumper over the last couple years. A lot of guys have said, we need Ted Nugent to stand up. No, we don't, because Ted Nugent is on a walker or a cane or close to it. That doesn't mean he's not an American. I'm not disrespecting him. He is a great voice for us. He does not represent the average gun owner. I'm sorry. That ship has sailed. The page on that, the chapter, the page, whatever, that is turned. Things have changed. We do not need him as the head of the NRA. That doesn't disrespect cat scratch fever. I'm sorry, but he's probably not the right voice. Nobody with a mullet these days probably is. Sorry, Chuck Norris is gone. I end every show here with, from my cold dead hand, sorry, Charlton Heston is gone. Now I got to tell myself that as well. Who speaks for us? Now, is Joe Rogan the final answer? Well, no, of course not. He's not the only answer. Now, let me throw this at you. The average hunter in my state is 52 years old. People aren't in the woods anymore. Now, some of y'all are typing away, well, my nephew hunts all the time. Single individual anecdotal evidence is not the bigger picture. The bigger picture is people are not in the woods. They're not joining rod and gun clubs like they used to. You can't get firearms down at Sears and Roebuck or down at Western Hardware or whatever it was called, Western Auto, whatever. Old people type, let me know what that one was. But you can't get firearms through Sears and Roebuck anymore. We need people to influence. I was talking with a buddy of mine, Mike, y'all know Mike, Grand Thumb, and he said one time to me that airsoft is the great gateway drug. And I think that's important because a massive part of his channel and the people that follow him are airsofters. And it is a gateway drug getting them into the 2A culture and 2A community. And we need that. The deciding thing, bam, draw a line in the sand. The deciding thing right now in America between the left and the right is the Second Amendment. And we need people on our side. So who speaks for us? I was kind of excited that Rogan was that clear, that clear. It's fantastic. So it's really a question for me. Do you see these gateways? And who speaks for you? It's a great conversation to have. Y'all like this one yesterday. I'm going to show it to you again. I'll put it out here in the sunshine so you can see it from my Charlton Heston cold dead hands. Bye, y'all.